Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Tournament Podcast. This is Tom, joined today, as always, by my brothers Marty and Mike. And today we're going to do something that is going to help me in a way because this is a topic that bothers me. And I have a problem with, a lot of these rankings and committees and Hall of Fames, so to speak. And in particular, this is the NFL Hall of Fame that we are going to be discussing, if you will, today. So, what this basically is it a screw job or not? Is what we're getting at here. So, what we're going to be taking a look at is I've compiled a list of 10 of the greatest DBs in the history of the NFL. 9 of the DBs on this list are in the Hall of Fame, one is not. So Marty and Mike are just going to be able to take a look at all the numbers, and I'll show you on the screen here. It's pretty basic. It's just the number of games they've played, interceptions per game, the yards in terms of interception return, and the TDs they had as a result. So obviously it doesn't tell the whole story. It's a very small capsule of information to work from. But if Marty and Mike rank 1 through 9 the Hall of Fame guys, and 10 is the non Hall of Fame guy, then it really isn't a screw job. But if the Hall of Fame or the non Hall of Fame guy winds up 1, 2, 3, 4 somewhere else in the rankings, then hey, something's going on here. Why isn't this guy in the Hall of Fame? He should be. And I always think you've got to remove jerseys. I think they do this in college football, college basketball. Just because your jersey has a certain name on it, you're just automatically better than the smaller schools. It's not always that way. People get tainted. And I've said, many times with the NCAA tournament. First of all, it should be a computer picking the teams. But if they insist on having a bunch of idiots in a room pick these schools, then they shouldn't be allowed to see names. You get your entire dossier of information without school names. You then rank them, and then at the very end, once the committee says we're done, we've got them ranked, then they unveil the names and they see what they've done. That's the only fair way to do it, and of course, that's not what they do. So, without any further ado, gentlemen, if you see the list I put in Discord,
Yep.
and if you want to start going through this and just kind of looking at the information, although limited, provided to you, and tell me who you think should be 1, 2, etc., and then we can always maneuver, um, at that point before we're finalized. So, whoever wants to take the first stab at it here or start discussing it.
Well, just looking through here with the information that we have, these are obviously DBs. So, one of the things that we look at, obviously, are interceptions. We don't have like passes defended or anything like that. So, just going on this criteria that we have and the information in front of us, to me, I would say, I don't know, maybe the second one from the top, the 238 games, 71 interceptions.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's pretty stellar. I'll put him at the top for now, and obviously we can
it's
always change it.
not even just the number of, because there's some people that are very close, but look at the yards. So
Yeah, this
when
person was a return machine,
I was
along
going
with
to,
the guy at the bottom of the list has some massive yards.
Yeah,
Actually, in the guy at the bottom of the list, if you look at interceptions per game, he's the leader there too.
that's who I was actually looking at as the second from the bottom because what the yardage is more, the touchdowns are higher, the interceptions are a little bit less, but the games are substantially less as well.
that's a that's a good point.
So I was thinking that guy that's second from the bottom, and then obviously at that point the second from the top would have to be second on the list.
Now, I will tell you guys this, that and DBs in terms of Hall of Fame, they throw in what we would constitute as a DB and safeties. So this is a mix. But
okay.
in terms of just classifying them all as DBs, the gentleman that's currently sitting at 1 is the guy that I've always said I thought was the greatest of all time.
Yes.
And I don't think he gets the due that he should. But anyway, you'll find out here shortly who that is.
I think we have a feeling. And aside from that individual, where are you, Troy? I'm assuming you're here, Troy.
If you're asking if Troy Polamalu was hidden in this list, Troy is in this list.
Oh, I was saying he better be here.
Now, but this was random, so it's not all the greats, and I put some old school guys in here, so it's. But Troy is in the list.
Otherwise, I'll throw my headset down.
Okay. All right, so we got 1 and 2, at least for the time being. Anybody looks like they stand out is 3.
I mean, I guess.
Because you got one guy left with a lot of return yards.
Yeah.
One guy left with double-digit interceptions. A couple guys left that average over 0.3 interceptions a game. So it's pretty tough.
Yeah, then we have. He doesn't have near as many interceptions, but this individual with 11 career touchdown returns.
Yeah.
Impressive too.
The person obviously that initially jumps out is the person with the 1,331 yards, but I mean, there's 9 TDs.
Yeah, I agree.
46 picks and 100, because I think that's actually it's the second lowest number of games played. So I'm thinking, oh, never mind. I was looking at the wrong line for that, but it's still 188 games, but 9 touchdowns, 1,300 yards.
Yeah, that is tremendous.
Well, you guys will not be disappointed with that pick.
Yep, that.
I have a feeling we know who that may be.
No, I don't know if you do.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if you know any of the first 3 that you've put in there yet, but.
Oh, okay.
I will give you a and I'll let the people listening and or watching give you a spoiler alert. The person the non-Hall of Fame person in here is not in the top 3, so.
Oh, okay.
They're still in the mix.
Without saying the name, I'm assuming I know the individual that
you do.
Was the inspiration for this list.
Yes.
Yeah.
You absolutely do. We won't spoil it right now, but, well, it might be spoiled in the thumbnail, but.
What? Oh, the recently honored individual that is the inspiration for this.
Who is absolutely one of the greatest ever, and I don't know how they're not in the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
They are the inspiration for this list. So, we have 1, 2, and 3, and it is a darn good 1, 2, and 3.
I guess.
And this isn't saying they're the 1, 2, and 3 greatest, because again, there's 36 DBs in the Hall of Fame, and I only took out 10, kind of random. But these might very well be the best 1, 2, and 3. But just in terms of this list, they certainly are.
Man. I mean, then maybe 4. What about the individual with 65 interceptions?
The 966 yards and 11 TDs? That person?
Yeah, I mean that's. Is that who we have at 4?
We don't have
anybody at 4 yet.
Oh, yeah, I think that person.
See, it's going to be hard for you guys unless you can mark on the chart or something that.
I'm making notes as always.
Okay.
Yep, I wasn't prepared. I'm trying to remember. That's who I think should be 4. I mean, that person has.
The only thing throwing me with that person is 254 games, but the interceptions per game isn't too far off from any of these other individuals. So yeah, I'd say that you're talking about that 4th from the bottom, the 254 with 11 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Well, yep. And you know what? That tells me that we can, your instinct might say, man, they played 254 games. The other guys play less. To me, that's actually also saying, wow, this is an individual that was in the league for, 15, 16 years.
That is quite true,
So
but some of the
better.
guys are old school and they only played like 12 game seasons, so
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is true. So yep, we're putting Troy at number 4. There he is. Actually, let me put a T.
So that
next
leaves you.
to
I'll
it.
just go by the games starting at the top. That leaves us with 158, 177, 207, 192, 215, and 193 at the very bottom are the gentlemen that are left.
Okay. So to round out the top 5. Oh man, let's see.
Yeah,
I would say the person maybe right above Troy, the person with 192 games, 63 picks.
Yeah, .33 interceptions a game.
Yeah,
yeah.
That is like
that's impressive.
Smoking hot. Only one guy better than that.
So I would say that individual probably should be next.
Yeah, I agree. It's
so he'll
impressive.
fall right after. Oh yeah, so he'll be right after Troy here to round out the top 5.
Well, then at number 6, then I feel like we kind of have to put there are 2 guys that have identical stats. Are these 2 different people?
No, that was a typo. I'm sorry. The 207 was an accidental typo. It's the same. I noticed that on my sheet. I was like, oh, son of a gun.
Oh, okay. I think that person should be next because their stats are.
Yeah, they're the only remaining.
Yeah.
Pretty similar to the guy we just put in.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, the 207.
Okay,
damn, my eye just. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, damn, looking at that guy, my eye just took me down to that person we have number 1 again, that .37 interceptions per game. God almighty.
Well, and this is also will be good to shed some light on who number 1 is to give them their due. And not that they're not certainly a big name known, but I just don't think they get the overwhelming. I don't think they're thought of as the greatest of all time. I've always thought they were. I didn't mean for this list to be about that, but it's funny that you guys, at least statistically, agree with me. Okay, so just to help you guys out here, there's only 4 remaining. We've got at the top, the 3rd and 4th, so 158 and 177 are left. And then towards the bottom, 215 and 193 are left.
All right. I think the next one should probably be the guy with the 177 games, the .26 interceptions.
And do you, just to kind of are you guys thinking that the guy with 193 and .21 interceptions at the bottom is probably the bottom guy?
I mean, that would have been my,
I mean, I don't have to put. I'm just trying to.
Or the guy with 158 games.
I gotcha. Yeah, that's true. Well, so does that mean that the guy with 215 is next on the list?
Yeah, the 215. I'm fine with that.
4 picks. All right, so that leaves 158 and 193. So, what are you guys thinking?
I mean, they're almost interchangeable, but go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was just they are pretty close. So I would say that the bottom guy would Let's see. What do you look? 215. Let's see. We're looking at the 2.
Yeah, the 158 at the top.
193.
193 at the bottom. Yep.
I like the 193 a little more. They obviously have barely more per game, but they're another that's a veteran.
Yeah, I mean the stats, like you said, he had.
You're assuming
a
it's
higher,
a he. Could be a female.
He had a little bit more per game. The yardage and the interceptions were less. But I guess overall, because the per game was higher, so I say go with the 193 and then the 158 to end it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy this and put it in Discord so you see, and you guys are going to be blown away at who you have last.
Wow. Hopefully it's not Troy.
It's got to be a safety. Those last few guys I'm imagining are safeties.
Probably Ronnie Lott.
And then we'll pull this up on this. Ronnie Lott's actually in the list, but he's
or they were such good defensive backs that a lot of quarterbacks didn't throw to their side. Therefore, their touchdowns weren't as high. Because I mean, that's
and here we go. Let's go ahead and start unveiling this too. I'll do it on the screen. So, as you guys see here in Discord, the last gentleman selected is Troy Polamalu. Shockingly.
Oh, that was Troy. Man.
Now, Troy, obviously Hall of Famer. He's got a lot more in terms of sacks and things that he did. But yeah, in terms of just these stats, and that Troy is in 10th place. Old school Roger Warely, who with the St. Louis Cardinals came in number 9. When I wanted to, as I said, give some. He's a Hall of Famer. Wanted to add in some old school to make it interesting. You guys selected number 8 to be Champ Bailey.
Nice.
From the Washington football team, we will say. Obviously a stud of a player, average .24 interceptions a game. Number 7, you guys picked another Hall of Famer. Mike Haynes, played with the Patriots and the Raiders, I think about equal parts. .26 interceptions per game is pretty darn stellar.
Oh, yeah.
And the person that I made this list for that I think is getting screwed, and you guys in terms of the numbers agree with me, who finishes number 6, Ken Riley of the Cincinnati Bengals, never even gets mentioned as a Hall of Famer. Yep. 207 games, 65 interceptions, .31 a game, 596 return yards and 5 interceptions. Numbers look almost identical to Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott's in. Ken Riley doesn't even get discussed, and it is a shame. It's a sham, and it's a screw job. So committee, wake up. Ken Riley deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Number 5, Ronnie Lott, as I mentioned, Hall of Famer. Obviously, everybody knows San Francisco 49ers beat the Bengals twice in the Super Bowl. So enough said there. Number 4, you guys said Charles Woodson. Primarily, I went with the Raiders. Obviously, almost 1,000 yards in returns, 11 TDs. Whew, that is just mind-blowing there. Especially when you look at number 3, you guys, I said you wouldn't be disappointed. Neon Deion Sanders, prime time.
Yep.
188 games, 53 picks, .28 a game, a staggering 1,331 yards in returns, and 9 touchdowns. Number 2 of all time, according to you guys, Rod Woodson of the Pittsburgh Steelers. 71 interceptions, which leads this list. .3 a game, 1,483 return yards, only 2 TDs, but still, wow. I mean, what a career for Rod Woodson. And finally, who I've always thought was the GOAT. I don't think people refer to him as the GOAT or even think of him in the conversation. At least that's kind of what I gather. Ed Reed of the Baltimore Ravens. 1,590 return yards off of 64 interceptions, damn near average .4 interceptions a game, 7 TDs, and did all that in 174 games. Are you kidding me? Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And there's 36 defensive backs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame, and you cannot tell me Ken Riley is probably not somewhere in the middle of that pack where, if you just looked at everything, he'd be 18, 19, 20 or something like that. It's just a shame that Ken Riley has been left out and not even discussed. And I saw a recent list where it was Bengals that would be considered for the Hall of Fame this year. And obviously it was like Ken Anderson and Chad Ochocinco was on the list. And we know all the names being in Cincinnati, but no Ken Riley. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. I'd love for somebody to explain what the deal is. So, anyway.
Well, I have one thing just to throw in real quick, which is real interesting, is the top two guys they were safety as opposed to just the, actual DB.
Yeah.
I know these guys had the skill set where they could have been, a DB as well, but I think they were both like free safeties, and I just think that's kind of interesting.
And to make it even, again, to try to prove my point about Ken Riley, and let me look this up real quick before we call an end to this podcast. He wasn't even a DB in college. Paul Brown changed him from, gosh, what the heck was he? College career. Oh, he was a quarterback.
Oh, wow.
So he was a quarterback at Florida A&M. Paul Brown got him with the Bengals, converted him to a defensive back, and look what he did. I mean, that's even more impressive.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, if anybody from the Hall of Fame is watching this, and I doubt you are, I'm going to have to send this video to him. Ken Riley deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I mean, like you look at Troy Polamalu's numbers, and they don't tell the story. I've said this before because he did so many other things. And on this list, he's 10. Well, we know he's literally one of the absolute greats of all time. He's probably not 10, but just looking at the numbers here, he was 10. But you look at what he did, how disruptive he was. I mean, if that stat line deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, which it does, how the hell is Ken Riley not in there? So anyway, enough, rambling. And do you gentlemen have anything in closing?
No, just I think the biggest issue with the grief of poor Ken Riley being left out, not even discussed, is the baloney, quote unquote, small market stuff where, the teams that aren't in New York and, California and all those, the huge markets where, they're not spotlighted a lot. And, it is baloney. There's definitely a bias when it comes to the media and all that. There's no question, but shame on you, committee.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I appreciate everyone listening to this. If you enjoyed the content and made it this far in the video, please consider subscribing to our channel, liking the video, leave a comment if there's, you have a comment about one of these guys, especially Ken Riley. Let us know your thoughts. And we will be coming back here next week. We're going to have this exact same sort of podcast, and instead of DBs, we're going to be focusing on quarterbacks. And again, that is Cincinnati related, but in that one we have a wild card. I have a quarterback. I have two in this list that are not in the Hall of Fame, and the other 8 are. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. So again, thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate it, and we will see you next time.